2 World Cups in a row, the same 2 words, screamed by millions of people at their screens. It's rigged. In 2022, a referee in Argentina versus the Netherlands handed out 18 yellow cards, a World Cup record that still stands. And just watch this. The losing coach went on live television, looked straight into the camera, and called the entire result premeditated.
Dan denk ik dat het allemaal vooropgezet spel is.
And then, in 2026, it seemed to happen all over again. And keep your eye on the screen for this one. Argentina, 2 goals down to Egypt, somehow claw their way back to win in the 92nd minute, all wrapped in a thick fog of VAR decisions. And within minutes, the internet had reached its verdict, the same verdict as always. The World Cup wants Messi to win. So here's the real question, the one almost nobody is actually asking. Is this tournament being quietly engineered for the greatest player of all time? Or is something far sneakier going on, somewhere much closer to home, inside your own head? Let me be completely clear before we go one step further. There is no proof, none, that a single match has been fixed for Argentina or for Lionel Messi. No investigation, no evidence, no smoking gun. So, this video is not going to tell you it's rigged. It's going to do something more interesting than that. We are going to take the theory seriously, every single argument the believers make at full strength, and then we're going to work out why this particular theory is absolutely impossible to kill. Because by the end, I think you'll see that the most manipulated thing at this entire World Cup might not be the scoreboard at all. Every good conspiracy needs its evidence, and this one comes with a whole gallery of it. Exhibit A, 2022, Argentina against the Netherlands. They didn't even call it a match afterwards. They called it the Battle of Lusail. And just look at this. The referee produced 18 yellow cards and 1 red, the most in the history of the tournament. A Dutch midfielder said, and I'm quoting him, "When regular time was over, he only whistled for Argentina." Messi himself, after the game, demanded that FIFA never allow that referee to officiate again. And here's the part that fuels the fire. FIFA quietly sent that referee home. To the believers, that isn't accountability. That's covering your tracks. Exhibit B. That same tournament, Argentina were awarded penalty after penalty, more spot kicks than any team had received since 1966. One of them, against Poland, was so soft that when you watch it back, you can barely find the contact at all. And in the final itself, more decisions, more debate, more moments that just seem to fall Argentina's way at exactly the right time. Exhibit C. Now jump forward to 2026, the round of 16. Egypt, nobody's favorite, are beating the reigning champions 2-0, and they are playing brilliantly. Now watch this replay closely. A clean-looking Egyptian goal is wiped off the board by VAR for a foul in the build-up. The Egyptian players are stunned. And look at their coach. He walks out afterwards and says, flatly, that the World Cup is directed towards Argentina. And, right on cue, Argentina win it in stoppage time. Now line those 3 moments up side by side, one after another. The pattern practically leaps off the screen and grabs you by the collar. 2 tournaments, 1 team, always surviving, always on the right side of the big decision. And that feeling you're having right now, is exactly the problem. Hold on to it, because we're coming back to it. Here's what makes this theory feel so different from ordinary sour grapes. Because for once, there is an obvious motive, and all you have to do is follow the money. Lionel Messi is not just a footballer anymore. And just look at your screen for a second. At this World Cup, he appears in almost 1 in 4 of the single biggest advertising campaigns on the planet. Adidas, Lay's, Michelob. When Messi scores a goal, dozens of multi-million-dollar campaigns light up at the exact same instant across dozens of countries. A Messi fairy tale isn't just a lovely story for the neutrals. It is, quite literally, one of the most valuable events in the entire global sports economy. Somebody, somewhere, makes an absolute fortune if this ends the right way. and the timing could not be more cinematic if a screenwriter had planned it. 2026 is Messi's sixth and final World Cup. He turns 39 years old during the tournament. The entire football world has already wrapped it in a bow and called it his last dance. A farewell tour. A perfect, tearful ending to the greatest career the sport has ever produced. Now add the man sitting at the very top of the pyramid. And just listen to this clip for yourself. FIFA's own president went on the record talking about Messi and said, "I hope he can play his sixth World Cup. He always brings us so much joy." Read that again. The single most powerful person in world football openly cheering for one specific player to keep going. To the believers, that's not a kind compliment. That's the boss telling everyone what outcome he'd like to see. So put it all together. Enormous money riding on the result, a perfect once-in-a-lifetime story, and a governing body whose president adores the man at the center of it. If you sat down to write the script for a rigged tournament, honestly, it might look a lot like this, which is the whole trap. The theory is not stupid. It has a motive, it has means, and it has a fairy tale ending already written. And that is precisely why you need to be careful now. Because your brain is not a truth machine. Your brain is a pattern machine. And when you feed it a story this good, it will happily build you a beautiful, airtight lie. The first trick your mind plays is called apophenia, the tendency to see meaningful patterns inside what is actually random noise. 3 controversial decisions spread across 2 tournaments feel like a coordinated plan. But zoom out. Across hundreds of matches, thousands of individual refereeing decisions, and dozens of teams, someone was always going to end up standing on the lucky side of all those coin flips. When it happens to your team, you call it bad luck, and you move on. When it happens to Argentina, you call it a conspiracy. Same randomness, completely different story. And the only thing that changed was who you were rooting for. The second trick is motivated reasoning. We like to think we believe things because of the evidence. We don't. Mostly, we decide what we want to be true first, and then we go hunting for the evidence that agrees with us. And if your team has just been knocked out, we were robbed by a rigged system, feels a whole lot better than they were simply the better team on the day. The conspiracy isn't really about the referee. It's a painkiller for your bruised ego. And this is the part the research keeps confirming. The fans most likely to scream that a game was fixed are, almost every single time, the fans of the team that just lost. And the third trick is narrative bias. We are storytelling animals, and we are utterly addicted to a good arc. Aging legend, final dance, destiny calling, one last trophy before he walks away forever. That is a far more satisfying story than a very experienced team won a couple of tight games in the last minute. So your brain quietly rounds reality up to the better story. It fills in the gaps. It connects the dots into a shape it finds beautiful. Every single time. Stack those 3 habits on top of each other. Apophenia, motivated reasoning, and narrative bias. And you've got a machine that manufactures total certainty out of almost nothing. You feel like you've cracked the case, you feel like you can see the strings, but a lot of what you've actually spotted is just the inside of your own head. But now here is where this story gets genuinely, properly strange. Because there are 2 facts that take everything we've just built and turn it completely upside down. Fact 1. When analysts went back and studied the most outrageous moments frame by frame, the disallowed Egyptian goal, the big VAR reviews, most of them turned out to be technically correct. Under the actual written rules, that foul in the buildup really was reviewable. The decisions were controversial in how they were applied and in how inconsistent they felt, but they were not clearly, obviously wrong. The outrage was completely real. The robbery mostly wasn't there. And fact 2, this is the one that should genuinely stop you in your tracks. During the 2026 tournament, and look at these messages on the screen, several football social media accounts came forward and claimed that they had been offered money, real money, by a public relations agency to post content saying the World Cup was rigged for Argentina. One large account put it like this: "We were offered a huge sum to join the Messi and Argentina hate campaign. We turned it down immediately. Now, I have to be fair, that claim is itself unverified. No agency has been publicly named. There's no confirmed investigation. It might be nothing, but just sit with the possibility for a moment. What if some slice of the outrage you have been feeling, the anger, the certainty, the "it's so obvious," was never a grassroots reaction to injustice at all? What if it was a product? Something a company was literally paid to plant right there in your feed, designed to make you feel exactly this way? Because think about what that would actually mean. The theory tells you that shadowy powers are secretly manipulating the game in order to control what you believe. But the single best piece of evidence for real manipulation at this World Cup isn't out there on the pitch, in the referee's pocket. It might be sitting inside the outrage itself. So, after all of that, is the World Cup rigged for Messi? Here's the honest, uncomfortable answer. Do superstars get the benefit of the doubt from referees? Almost certainly, yes. That's a real, measurable bias in football, and it is not remotely unique to Messi. Is there staggering commercial pressure riding on a Messi fairy tale? Without question. Would a lot of powerful people be perfectly happy to see it? Probably. But is there one single, solid shred of actual evidence that a match was deliberately fixed? No, there isn't. None. What there is, instead, is a perfect storm, aimed directly at your mind. A real pattern to point at, a believable motive to explain it, a gorgeous story you want to be true, a wounded ego looking for someone to blame after every defeat, and now, possibly, even someone quietly paying to pour petrol on the whole fire. And that leads to the genuinely unsettling lesson underneath all of this. The easiest thing in the entire world to rig is not a football match. It's an opinion. Yours, mine, millions at a time. So the next time you feel that hot, instant, absolutely certain rush of, "Come on, it's obviously rigged," just pause for 1 second. Because that feeling, that certainty, might be the single most manipulated thing on your entire screen. If this changed the way you look at your own certainty, even a little, then subscribe. Because that is exactly what this channel is about. Understanding the hidden software quietly running your mind one video at a time. I'll see you in the next one.